maybe we should get a car because the Jeep is very unreliable today. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Dirt Drive. That's your intro. That's all you get. This week, it is Tom and I. We are talking about another reoccurring thing we always talk about. The unreliability of...
America's most unreliable vehicle?
Well, just...
Most reliably unreliable vehicle?
Any off-road vehicle that you don't want to drive every day.
Yeah.
And something that we see a lot in the extreme ends of off-roading. Yeah. And even like the overlanding stuff is daily drivers. Which is a term that a lot of people aren't familiar with. It's something that you would drive when you don't want to drive your shitbox or your off-road vehicle to get good gas mileage back and forth to work.
You know, it's funny though, because I think this is one of those few conversations that applies outside the shitbox community.
It does.
I think the concept was probably I don't want to say started by the shitbox guys, but
it was probably started by the rich guys that was adopted by the shitbox guys.
Well, so it probably goes more sort of the hot rod guys, right? Where like all of a sudden, you know, they were drag racing, so their car couldn't go around corners anymore.
Race on Sunday, sell on Monday, guys.
Right. I think the shitbox guys have perfected it.
I wouldn't say perfected.
Well, hear me out.
It was the point of my depression, actually.
No, hear me out. Because the rich guys that build high dollar rigs, they'll just go buy another car.
It's still your daily driver, though. It's not a shitbox daily driver, but it's still a daily driver.
But that's why I say being a shitbox connoisseur like ourselves.
Connoisseur day shitbox.
Yeah. That is the pinnacle of daily life, right? Where you have, it is a shitbox, right? So you have this junk that may or may not make it to work Monday morning, especially after you've just abused it for a weekend. So you need something that will get you to work on Monday. Now, in the shitbox life, it's also another shitbox. Like we both have high mileage 20-year-old commuter cars.
So I say my Sonata has 300,000 miles. It legitimately hit 299,000 miles this week. Original engine, original transmission. Yep. It's only had general service done on it. I love it.
Yeah, but the Honda's the same way. I'm at 180 and climbing rapidly. And I just put a fresh bumper on it because I hit the deer in October. Here we are in May, and I just put the bumper on. It's being a shitbox connoisseur and being able to deal with that and doing the maintenance side of it makes the 2-car life easier.
Well, for us, it was a 3-car life. And like I said, that was the point of my depression. And actually, that's what popped recently.
Yeah, but
for me, I had my shitbox Jeep, my shitbox truck, and my car. The problem I had is I was making payments on it. And that's where it came from.
That is rule number 1 to shitboxing is
shitboxing. I just picture someone with gloves on, like a pile of shit with a pair of gloves on.
Just two shit the poop emojis as boxing gloves.
Exactly.
That's a t-shirt.
Just driving a Cherokee.
Yeah. It's just a poop emoji driving a Cherokee. Oh, PJ, future PJ.
Duck.
No, but
keep talking.
That the key to doing that successfully, I honestly break it down like this. There are the 2 things you need to successfully own shitboxes and survive shitbox life is you can't owe on it. Yeah. Right? The bank cannot own your shitbox.
That killed me. The bank owned my truck twice.
Right. And you have to be able to work on it yourselves.
Yeah. You don't have to be able to work on it yourselves.
You should be able to at least the general maintenance, right? Because
I guess I was going to reference Travis. Travis could do his oil changes.
Yeah, but so as much
he would be a good qualifier for the ship for the daily driver
he would totally be able to handle it. Yes.
Shout out Travis, love you, buddy.
Where as much crap as we give him, his Jeep is not a shitbox.
Oh no. It's nice.
Travis is in the life. He's the other end of the daily driver spectrum where you either have to have the disposable income to have multiple vehicles or be playing the financial game of it well.
Yeah.
So like Travis isn't, love you, buddy, but you're not necessarily.
Well, let me preface that. Love you, buddy.
You're not a shitbox connoisseur like us.
Yeah.
Where you're not like, you don't want to deal with.
He's the gentleman daily driver.
Yeah. Like
if you will.
Honestly, he would probably make an argument that he can't drive a 20-year-old 300,000 mile Hyundai Sonata around because of his job where he's visiting clients and he's got to wear a suit and tie. Like his shit needs to be clean and running, which is also why he spends as much money as he does on his Jeep because he does drive it every day. But he's also got the plan of, okay, I'm happy with my Jeep. It's capable the way it is. Rusty, can you make up your mind?
He's laying down. Give
Thank
him a
you.
second.
Jesus, you're making me anxious. Where, he's happy with it. It's still a good daily driver. It's still a decent off-roader. And once it's paid off, he's going to, because he can afford a car payment, he can go buy a nice truck that becomes a daily driver and he can afford the gas in it. And his commutes are relatively short and, all the other
and it can tow his Jeep.
And it will tow his Jeep as he builds the Jeep further. Because like there's definitely it's not so much of a bell curve as it is a cliff where like your rig can very rapidly go from,
you hit a point.
I can drive this every day and go wheeling on Saturday. And then all of a sudden, I can't drive this anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's the two lanes in the off-road world is either this is a dedicated rig or it's a shitbox.
I know my point mechanically. I think it's like it's not a mechanical point. I think it's a distance point on which an off-road vehicle becomes unmanageable. I think if you're commuting more than maybe 30 miles a day, if you have more than a 30-mile a day commute, you need a daily driver. Because you're putting unnecessary wear and tear on a vehicle that experiences wear and tear for fun.
Well, yes, I see. I get your point, but I don't think it's necessarily a mileage thing. It's a mileage versus capability.
Yeah.
Right. So
it's not even that because Mackenzie, since we've been in the accident, we have not got the Santa Fe yet.
Right.
It is, what is it? May
13th, 14th?
14th. May 14th. We got in the accident.
April something.
April 22nd. So it's been almost a month. She's been driving the Jeep every day for almost a month.
And she's miserable.
And she's not miserable, but I'm miserable because mechanically it's putting wear and tear on. I've done the oil filter adapter housing, and now I've got a coolant code, and there's multiple other things that need to be addressed. She thinks there's depth wobble, but just driving a vehicle every day that is not intended for high mileage.
Where I'm going to argue against that is you guys have broken the cardinal rule of multiple car ownership, and that's not consistently using a vehicle. So like the Jeep sat more than you used it, which factors into all of a sudden it is a primary vehicle and it's not prepared to do that. Like a vehicle sitting is almost as bad as.
Well, it didn't sit though. We drove it nights and weekends.
Yeah, but that's not a 30-mile commute every day.
Correct.
Right. So like at a certain point, that vehicle settles into what it does. Right. So like I parked my truck for, I don't know, like when diesel was $5-6 a gallon. Yeah, I didn't drive my truck for 4 months.
I didn't either. Yeah.
Batteries died. Like, and then all of a sudden we were going 4-wheeling and I had to fire the truck up and that thing hadn't run in 3 or 4 months. And 2 days before the trip, I fired it up, jumped it, drove it. It was great. No issues. Parked it for another day. Right. Like, well, cool. Truck's good to go. I'll hook the trailer up on Thursday. It's Monday. Wednesday, I go to hook the trailer up and the truck's dead again. And I'm like, why the hell is the truck dead? Start digging around. In that time that I jumped it and drove it, one of the batteries shorted out, right? So now it's got a drain. It's sucking the other battery dry. Like, that's not something that happens over time. Like, that's a 20-year-old battery issue or a bad, like, that's a defect issue, which
that's like you turn the old light bulb off, it's never going to turn back on thing.
Right. So like, and now that I drive the truck at least once a week, really have no issues with it. Right.
Yeah.
Starts every morning. Like I don't have to prime the fuel system. The tires are holding air, like keeping temperature and keeping things flex and moving the components. All that stuff plays a huge factor in what kind of repair work you end up doing. So like, yeah, like your Jeep specifically, like the oil filter cooler,
that's going to happen.
That's a every 3-year repair that every JK owner and WK owner, minivan owner, anything that's got the 3.6 in it has that problem. It's just a poor design.
Yeah.
But you've gone from minimal service, minimal movement of the parts to full movement immediately.
Every day. Yeah, and we're doing 100 miles a day.
Right.
Which I think is more than the maximum for, well, in my book is more than a maximum for.
But yeah, but I think that's more so picking the right car than it is a second car. Like, it's not that your JK is such a trail rig.
That's why our initial choice was we still wanted a fun vehicle, but to daily drive it,
right.
Bronco. That's why we chose the Bronco, because it would be I think it would be better suited for the daily driver life and the take the doors off, take the top off, enjoy a nice weekend life.
Where I disagree with that is, as we're seeing, the Broncos don't handle the abuse like a Jeep does.
Yeah.
So but
that's the mechanical abuse off road.
Sure. But I think also like yes, the Bronco does the commute better than the Jeep does. But again, that's more of a right vehicle than an extra vehicle.
Correct.
And like your JK just being, as we say, the stock JK, right? 2.5 inches lift, slightly bigger tires, very minimal modifications. There is no reason you couldn't drive the Jeep. Will it be as comfortable and flashy as the Bronco, or it doesn't have the heated and cooled seats, the new Santa Fe?
Yeah, no heated steering wheel.
It's not a hybrid. Like, yeah, if you've got a 100-mile commute, buying a Jeep as your commuter is definitely a bad idea.
Yep.
Does that mean you have to buy a Honda Civic just to have a Jeep? No, you got to trade off. Are you going to put
when does the maintenance meet the usage?
Well, right, and like I think Travis is probably a better example to use for it, because he does mechanically stress that vehicle.
Oh yeah,
right?
We wheeled the shit out of that, his Jeep.
Right, and after the last trip, he spent $1,500 to put that back to daily driver capabilities. Right, we had to fix a U-joint. We ended up putting brakes on it. We had to fix a bunch of small stuff. What the hell is my phone doing? The back and forth of in and out of a shop to maintain the reliability does get expensive, and that's where the second car comes in. Because, you got to maintain your trail rig, but it's not necessarily an immediate need.
Correct.
And it's
since I've wheeled last, I know I need to do differential. I need to do differential fluid. I need to do an oil change, but I get to wait. I get to wait.
Yeah, or do it on your own time. Do it yourself.
Exactly.
Where Travis has to go to work Monday, and all of a sudden his Jeep's making a funny noise and shaking, and he's calling the shop going, I'm in a suit and tie, and I don't know what to do.
And I don't want to spend $100 a day on a rental car.
Because he can't turn around, go home, put it in his driveway, and get another car and go to work.
Correct.
And I think that's where that do I need a daily driver conversation starts, is like, are you going to miss work? Are you...
Mechanical reliability.
Yeah. Is it going to make it to work? Are you going to wreck the thing because it's jacked up from your weekend? When you're off-roading and you blow a tire, and then all of a sudden your spare is blown and now you're down a tire, do you have the spare disposable income to buy new tires? Some of these 37s are $600 a tire.
Yeah, I was looking at tires this morning with my hopefully future brother-in-law, Kyle.
Oh.
Do your goddamn job. You don't listen. You don't
put a plug in for the old in-laws, huh?
Come on, Kyle. And he was looking at tires, and he's like, "Why are just bigger?" It was like 285, 65, 20s. He's like, "Why are these?
20.
Why are
20
these 440 a pop?"
Yeah,
and it's going on as daily driver. I'm like, "Come on, man! You can't that's mechanical reliability versus cost effectiveness." Like he needs new tires, but he wants to be cool. But I'm like, yeah, maybe if you have the spare money, you can do that on your fun vehicle. But why would you spend that much money on a daily driver for tires?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think if you're not gonna get a daily, like then you need to plan your build around the fact that it's also a daily.
Yeah.
Or you need your Jeep to go to work on Monday.
You need cost effectiveness to be able to replace parts along with having it modified.
Right.
Whether that be getting a higher paying job or getting
a savings fund,
or finding really doing the legwork and finding the cheapest, highest quality option that will work for as long as it's possible without breaking the bank or being too much of a shitty part to have to replace it every 6 months.
Yeah, I don't...
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't necessarily recommend to people to get into shitboxing.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
It's not cost effective.
It's depressing.
Yeah, it is definitely not cost effective. It's depressing. It's work. Like you're never ahead. Something always needs to be fixed. I put a CV axle in the Honda for the first, I've known I've needed that repair for probably close to 2 years. But it's like, I'd rather dump the money into my Jeep, which is also broken.
Yeah.
Oh, and I also have to fix things on the truck. It's an endless cycle. You'll fix one thing and there's 5 more things that come up.
It's for me, it was to the point of I have a car payment on this truck. This truck is not the nicest thing.
Right.
I've got this truck because I've got this garbage Jeep, which is garbage, not the nicest thing. And because of everything is garbage, I drive my piece of shit Santa Fe.
Right.
I make more money than I've ever made in my entire life. My cars are shittier than they've ever been because of my stupid hobby. I need to fix something.
Yeah. No, and I completely agree with.
But even with my fix of selling the truck, I'll do a U-Haul truck. I'll do something else.
Yeah.
Even with the fix, I'm still keeping my shitty daily driver because I'm getting something that I can't daily drive. With what I want to do to it, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's not that you couldn't, right?
I couldn't. It wouldn't be cost effective.
Because you're right. It's not cost effective, and your whole plan for the Jeep is to drive it long distances.
Correct.
The commute isn't necessarily that's why I say like the mileage of your commute isn't necessarily the factor in why or why not drive something, right? Because the overland guys build those things to be driven for days at a time, right? But it's heavy. It's not fuel efficient. Like we did.
It's the cost of driving it every day versus when you want to drive it for fun.
Right. At the end of the day, it goes from a tool to a toy, right? So do you want to spend money on fun things or do you want to keep your toy capable or reliable?
Yeah.
And that's to me, that's the drop off is if it's a toy, you shouldn't rely on it, regardless of how much money you have dumped into it, what it's built for, what it's designed for. I think it's why the side-by-side market is as big as it is.
Oh, it's huge. I think Smoke and Tire just did a video on it. The side-by-sides are selling faster than the sports car market.
Right. But it's because you don't need to buy a second vehicle. I mean, the irony to me is they cost as much as a second vehicle.
So like they do. but with as popular as the CUV market is, as light as the side-by-sides are, with your daily driver CUV, you can pull your side-by-side.
Correct.
It is your trail toy. It is the smarter version of what we do, I guess, or the higher class version of what we do. It's the upper class. Upper middle class version of shitbox Cherokees and trucks.
I think in out west in the Southwest, I think I would be more inclined to get into side by sides if I lived out there.
I would be more inclined to get in side by sides if we lived in West Virginia. You could license and drive them.
Yeah, it all depends on
North Carolina, where you can register and drive them.
Yeah,
in North Carolina, you can drive a side by side to work every day.
Yes, we are seeing those changes.
If they did that, I would sell my Jeep and buy side by side.
Yeah. I don't completely disagree with you. I think it comes with its own set of hurdles, but it's
what the crazy thing about that is?
Oranges thing though.
If you have your side by side owned, licensed, and registered in West Virginia or North Carolina, you can drive it into Virginia, all around Virginia, but you cannot own. You can. I looked it up. I looked up the laws of this.
Interesting.
But you cannot license and register a side-by-side in Virginia and drive in Virginia. But since it's a legally licensed and registered vehicle outside the state police and law, if I'm wrong, please correct me. I don't think I am. I think I've done the research to look this up.
I think where they're going to get you is like Virginia has very strict laws of what you need to operate on the road. So like certain states, like I know Utah is one that's really friendly to side-by-sides. They don't require, like you can just take your side-by-side off the showroom floor, slap a UTV tag on it, and you're done.
Yeah.
Where you don't have brake lights, turn signals.
Yeah, North Carolina, West Virginia require it to be DOT compliant.
Right. So like in Virginia, any vehicle on the road has to have working brake lights, turn signals, things like that. So yes, you might be able to physically drive it over here with a license plate, but that doesn't mean you're not going to get pulled over and ticketed for not having wipers or not having a DOT approved tire or not having brake lights. Or
I guess it's like the Pennsylvania thing. If you can't not have doors on in Pennsylvania.
Right.
Your tires have to be covered by fenders in Pennsylvania, whether you're from there or not.
Yeah, the tire cover one gets gray. I mean that like
it's like 3/4 or 70% of the tire has to be covered in Pennsylvania or something. Like I say, correct me if I'm wrong.
There's
I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you to correct me.
No,
I'm
I know.
telling the audience, obviously.
The doors thing, they can enforce the doors thing because that is a removable component, right? Like it's your Jeep. Like every vehicle has doors,
correct?
Right. So you've removed your door and are operating without this equipment,
a factory component.
Like the tire thing is a little bit more gray because if you're registered in Virginia and Virginia says you have to cover 30% of your tire, but Pennsylvania says you have to cover 50% of your tire, they're enforcing a Pennsylvania law on a Virginia vehicle. That's where it gets very gray. But the doors thing, like you can operate it without doors in Virginia, but I'm pretty sure if you go for safety inspection and you don't have your doors on, they will not give you a sticker.
I'm due for safety on the Jeep, so I'll try that.
There you go. Give it a shot, see what happens.
Now,
Now, being a Jeep, like Virginia's so weird.
I think it says as long as you have mirrors. You actually only need one mirror in Virginia.
Yes. That's in most places, actually.
Yeah.
Like if you look back like in the 60s and 70s, a lot of cars only had one mirror.
Yeah.
But again, like that's all part of making that determination, right? Did you turn your JK into a 1-ton rock crawler? Yeah, you might have tags and brake lights and turn signals, but do you run tube doors 90% of the year? Like, are you going to want to put your doors on just to drive it one place or the other? Like, where do you live? What do you do? Does your hair have to be clean? Do you wear a suit to work? Like, if you go out wheeling and you get stuck in a mud puddle and you're not home till midnight on Sunday, do you want to stay up all night cleaning the mud off so you can go?
Yeah. Put your suit on and jump in the
obviously there are plenty of people like ourselves who would gladly do that. Thankfully, I don't have to wear a suit to work.
Correct.
But like if I had to drive my Jeep to work, if my Jeep was my only running vehicle on Monday morning, that's just a good day at work.
Exactly. Yeah.
like I don't need a daily, and I still have one.
Yeah. So that is like right now it's our backup contingency. Right now, if we have a vehicle to go down, I could make my Jeep go to work. Right. It wouldn't be fun and I wouldn't enjoy it. It'd take me an hour and a half to get to work.
Yeah.
But it could happen.
Yeah.
So I know my contingency. What's your contingency for a daily driver? Cost effective. So no payments.
Yep.
I got mine for
cheap. Yeah.
Cheap. You got yours for nothing.
Yeah.
It was a hand me down.
Yeah. It was a recycling of existing vehicles.
Yeah. We don't want to sell it and you don't want to drive the truck.
Yeah.
So, I think a good contingency is, I mean, it depends on your job. If you need to be, if you were a traveling salesman, which we have two buddies that do that.
Yep.
They both drive Jeeps.
Yep.
Both very good looking Jeeps.
Yeah.
But they have to maintain those Jeeps.
Yep. Hence the unlimited car wash packages.
Yeah, unlimited car wash packages. So it depends on your job. If you need a presentable vehicle, that the daily driver topic gets harder.
Yeah.
If you're just driving to an office, it gets a little easier.
Yep.
I hate to say it. I love, like, at heart, I'm a wagon guy. They don't make wagons anymore. The CTSV wagon is my favorite. I would never daily drive it. That's not a daily driver.
I would say to me that like that you're now going back into a toys conversation.
But if they made a wagon affordably, I mean, I guess I can go back into an old Volvo.
Sure.
Like old Volvos are awesome. I love a wagon.
Yeah.
CUVs, I'd probably end up, if I had to have to buy one in Marketplace, I'd probably go like a Honda CRV.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever's older, like a Honda cheap, Pilot or whatever.
The cheap Japanese Toyotas, Hondas, whatever, are known for being reliable, right? I think if you can get it, anything that's a good deal is a good place to start. But like I know at one point Brian had a Volkswagen Passat.
Yeah.
Right? Like
not reliable.
No. And like the problem is a cheap Passat is a hunk of shit.
Yeah.
Right. Professional mechanic, not the end of the world, but it's still a hunk of shit, right? Like the windows didn't work. I think he had like stuffed memory foam into the seats to make him
comfortable. Yeah. He's also 3'5", so he's got to boost himself a little bit with the textbook.
Like that's not necessarily cheap. Isn't the only factor. It should be, will it start every morning? Is it good on fuel? Like if you have a long commute, is it good on fuel? Right? Like I fill my 08 Honda Civic for like $35.
How big is your tank?
10 gallons.
Jesus Christ, that's tiny.
But
my tank on my Sonata is 17 gallons.
Yeah.
It goes.
How often do you fill up your tank?
Once a week.
So do I.
But my commute is also half the distance of yours. I do. What do you do? 20 miles a day?
It's 28 miles.
20 miles round trip or one way?
Total. Well, one way. Sorry. So
30, so call it 30.
Call it 60 miles.
Yeah, I do. I'll call it 70. But your vehicle gets much better gas mileage than mine does.
Yeah, because it weighs probably 1,000 pounds less
than the Sonata,
and it's only 2 liters versus whatever. Don't you have a V6?
It's a V6. Yeah,
there's your problem.
And it goes.
But it was super cheap, so you outweigh your gas mileage with the cost of the vehicle.
Yeah,
and at the end of the day, it's as reliable, right? It starts.
It's only got 10 gallons.
It's like 10 and a half. Yeah,
that's wild.
It's awesome.
That's so little.
Which like when I what was it 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago when I ended up accidentally driving the truck 4 days in a row.
Accidentally driving the truck 4 days in a row.
We picked up the tons for PJ.
Yeah.
So I drove the truck to work so we could leave the shop, drive out to Culpeper Customs and pick up the axles. And then that ended up running late because we ended up hanging out down there for like an hour and a half. Yeah. And it was like, fuck it, we're not going to go back to the shop to unload these. They weren't staying at my house and they weren't going to PJ's house. So I was like, all right, I'll just bring the axles down to the shop in the morning and we'll unload them at the shop Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
And then we had 2 appointments to look at the Skinny Guy camper on Thursday. And I was at the firehouse Wednesday night. So whatever I needed for Thursday, I had to drive on Wednesday because I don't go home between the firehouse and work. So it was like, all right, so I drove it down on Tuesday. Now I'm going back on Wednesday. I got to load the camper up Wednesday morning so I don't have to drive all the way home on Thursday morning to get the camper. So I drove the truck down with the camper on it. That truck was loaded with 1,000 pounds in it for 3 straight days.
Damn.
And like on Wednesday, I guess Thursday morning when I left the firehouse, I had to get fuel.
But did you get the same thing that I got when I drove my truck? Is there like a serotonin shot?
Oh,
like you just smile. Like, I don't care what it is.
We were talking,
when I drove my truck, it just made me happy.
Before we started recording, we were talking about me wanting to get rid of the truck. At some point next week, I'll drive it, and I'm not getting rid of this thing. Yeah. I'm an idiot. Why would I get rid of this thing?
Yeah, it's like,
and then I'll have to put fuel
because it's just as much of a shitbox as your Civic, but it's a serotonin shot of. It's
so much more enjoyable to drive than the Civic.
Yeah.
I hate driving the Civic. It's a fishbowl. It's beige on beige, but it cost me $35 to fill it and
it's free.
And it's
you pay insurance and taxes.
Yeah. I think the whole Deer fix cost like $250. The bumper was like $62 and then I paid a buddy to paint it for $200. So I filled the truck up Thursday morning. That was like $87.
Oh, that's not even full. That's like 3/4.
Yeah, it was like 3/4 of a tank. Yeah, I always fill it at 3/4 because the fuel gauge doesn't work. So I fill it at 300 miles regardless. And it's usually like 18, 19 gallons, which is a little more than 3/4 of a tank, but or a little less, a little more. Math's hard. So yeah, it was like $87, $90. Drive home Thursday night, park it, and I'm like, whew. All right, back to the commuter car Friday morning, getting the commuter car, gas lights on. I was like, damn it. So I had to fill that up, but it was only like $30 to fill that. So it's like, all right, like that's literally the swing. I drive a truck for 4 days and it cost me $90. I spend $30 on the car.
It's good
and
for
I'm
5
good
days.
for 7 days.
Damn.
It's literally.
I guess another
another
benefit you have that I don't have is I've got to go over a mountain.
Yeah,
I merge.
I'm
into,
on top of that mountain.
I merge into traffic
Yeah.
going up a mountain.
Yeah.
So I've got to pin it every day.
Yeah.
And that's why I go through tires so fast. Mackenzie was giving me a hard time the other day. She goes, "Didn't you just get tires like a year ago?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I do 30,000 miles a year in my car.
Yeah.
I haven't rotated them. My fault. And I go up a mountain every morning."
Yeah, I drive the same way, but that's more because
Just
I'm
for
an angry
fun.
New Jersey driver.
You are. Oh, yes, you are.
But yeah. I mean, again, these are all factors in why you. I say should. I'm not. I get why people don't, but just about anybody who's willing to off-road their vehicle should consider the fact that they should have a secondary vehicle.
Correct.
Whether it's a truck to tow it, or a Honda to drive to work on Monday morning, or BMW to drive to work, whatever floats your boat. Like, I think, or shit, even if it's another Jeep, like
Just something that's not modified that you care
yeah.
a little less about, or
Right.
not even care less about. Is just cheaper to fix.
A good plan that, like, I know a few of our friends have done or are doing or planning to do, is if you're making payments on your Jeep now and you love off-roading and you want to do more, the advice I always give people is pay that Jeep off, keep it.
Keep it.
Don't upgrade it, keep it.
Get a new car loan.
Keep
or
keep making that monthly payment
put it in savings
for a year to yourself, and then get that lump sum. If you can afford, right? So if you bought your JK and you're paying $500 a month
over 12 months is $6,000,
right? So
which is a great daily driver.
Exactly. Well, not just that, but if we'll use Travis as an example. He's bought that Jeep. He's 3 years into that Jeep. He's been making that car payment. That is part of his personal monthly budget, right? So he knows he can afford $500 a month. Pay the Jeep off, spend a year saving money. Take that $500 a month, put it aside, $600 a month, whatever you want to do. Now you've got a stockpile of cash to upgrade your Jeep more and make it less daily drive capable, but you've got a big lump sum you can dump into it. You can still afford that monthly car payment, take that same amount and either keep saving for more stuff for the Jeep until it's undrivable. In Travis's case, the advice we've given him is take that and turn that into a truck.
Yeah.
Go buy a truck, make a monthly payment on your truck. That's your new daily driver. Is it fuel efficient? Not really, but it's going to give you the option to tow your Jeep places like we do, and we can start doing these bigger trips, these longer trips, and you don't have to worry about your Jeep making it. Like he texted me yesterday. He goes, "Will my Jeep pull the Honda Civic on a tow dolly?"
Absolutely not.
And I was like, it physically will. Like, I wouldn't recommend it. Like, what are you trying to do? And he's like, "Can I borrow your truck for the week?" I guess his brother-in-law is a big Honda guy, and this Honda he just got for his son. He wants his brother-in-law to look it over. So I was like, "Why don't you just drive the Honda to South Carolina?" And he's like, "I don't know if it'll make it. And if it breaks down halfway there, I'm screwed." I was like, your Honda probably has a better chance of making it to South Carolina
than your
my
Jeep
truck,
pulling your Honda.
or my truck pulling the Honda.
Yeah.
I'm like, just drive it. And he's like, "Oh, I don't know." I was like, "Listen, if you're going to tow dolly it, that's fine. Just factor in it doesn't have brakes. The only thing the Jeep's not going to really do well with that is stop it." And it's like,
and at that point, just rent a U-Haul truck, a U-Haul
Sure.
dolly.
Yeah.
Or you're safer, you're better off.
Yeah.
Then
but the problem is I don't think he can put the whole family in the U-Haul truck to go on the trip.
Fair.
He can put the whole family in the Jeep and just tow the Honda. I'm like, just drive the Honda.
Yeah.
Or here's a wild thought. Maybe ask one of the 5 mechanic friends you have to look it over here in Virginia.
Yeah, just take it for a state
instead of
inspection.
taking it all the
If
way-
it passes a state inspection,
it'll probably make it to South
it'll
Carolina.
probably make it to South
I think
Carolina.
he's a little paranoid
but if it
after the last
makes it to South, if it passes a state inspection, you don't have to take it to South Carolina to get it looked over because it's compliant with the state.
I don't know. Like I said, I think he's a little bit paranoid.
Shell shocked from the last one.
Well, yeah, because the last one made an inspection window on the side of the motor.
All right, we're gonna try a new bit now. Not a new bit, a new segment.
Is this where we call Travis and get him?
No. It's I'm down to start taking questions. So if you guys have any questions about off-roading, about us, about anything in general, let me know, or shoot me a DM at DirtNerds Offroad, or not DirtNerds Offroad. Which one am I?
Dirt Drive.
At the Dirt Drive on Instagram.
Or you can send it to DirtNerds Offroad.
DirtNerds Motors.
You get a hold. There's only so many of us that are actually physically running our
social media
pages. So if you need to get a hold of us, any of them.
Yeah, shoot us your questions, and we'll start answering questions every other episode. A few episodes ago, a guy messaged me, Tom and Max 2002, not our Tom and Max. Different Tom and Max.
That's wild.
Reber. He sent me a message asking why you dislike Pat so much. Why do you dislike Patagonias for the East Coast?
How much time do we have left?
We'll take a 5-minute answer. Because I personally have no experience with the tires, so I can't answer that question.
There are worse tires out there. However, for me, everything comes down to a balance of cost and performance. Like, for me, the Patagonias and the Nittos fall in the same category. It's not worth the money. Yes, the Patagonias are cheap. Yes, the Nittos are expensive. The Nittos are a phenomenal tire from a performance standpoint. I'll never argue that. They are a great tire.
But you can get a tire just as good for cheaper.
What, less money? The Patagonias work. It's not that they don't work. They just don't work as well. And the amount of money, like, you're still spending, what, like $250 on a Patagonia when you can spend $325 on a Mickey Thompson that works 100 times better.
Yeah. Or my personal favorite, a Falcon. I love the Falcon tires.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, if we're talking mud terrains, like the Falcon mud terrain is a great tire, but to me, it's not the king of mud terrains. I would much rather put somebody in a Mickey or a KM3 if they're looking for a truly off-road tire. And that's why, like, to me, the Patagonia, even though it's cheap, it just isn't worth it, because you're not getting as good of performance out of a better, more expensive tire. And they're just not that durable. If it's a dual purpose tire.
So when it comes back to the daily driver aspect,
right,
it doesn't last. It doesn't last that 50,000 miles that you should get out of a tire you're paying.
And maybe it's the asphalt versus concrete, like out west where things are concrete, the tires are wearing differently. The tread wear compounds and things are affected differently in temperature. Like I don't see them shedding mud well. They don't. Yep. They do flex well. Like, they're a good flexy tire. I think, like I said, on the highway, we see them cupping and shredding a lot. It's just to me the money saved is lost. Like, you're not gaining anything by saving that money.
Now, maybe for a West Coast tire where it may work better.
Yeah,
but for us out here on the East Coast,
my Crocs can grip on Red Rock.
Fair. We heard that from Lee and Brent like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
And that's not knocking Moab. Like, that's still phenomenal wheeling. It's just different. It's different wheeling. Everything here is mud. Like, if you get mud, we've run into it. When I had the Cherokee Chief, first trips, I had the fucking I had KO2s on it. First gen KO2s, which for the longest time were considered like the greatest off-road tire, right? The first trail we went on after it rained, those things were mud-packed racing slicks. You couldn't see tread or rubber at all. And like, for a mud terrain, it doesn't shed mud at all. We have sticky mud. It happens. But I had the Kumo Mud Claw or whatever. I forgot.
Oh yeah, they were cheap. They were like scrappy. $175 a tire for 33s.
Yeah, and like, those things threw so much mud, the back seat was full of mud. Because I would roll 5 miles an hour through camp and it was slinging mud right out of it. So like, that's why I don't like
that. Now Patagonia, if you're listening, I will take a set and try them out on the East Coast, and we'll give you because we don't have an honest review. We've seen other people wheel them.
Fiametta's Jeep.
Oh, he did. Yeah, okay.
Fiametta's had 38s on it.
I'll try him if Pat wants to send us a set of tires.
I think that they are. Oh God, he just measured them like a month ago too.
Which I'll give him a little plug. His
for sale.
His Jeep is
With
for sale
Patagonias on it.
and tons.
No, it's an
thought it was
ultimate.
ton.
It's ultimate 44 e-locker, short arm Clayton kit 3.5 38s KMC bead locks.
It's a
well built rig.
It's a well built rig.
I'm biased. We built it. We didn't wire it. Shout out Tom for doing your own wiring.
Yeah.
But we may fix it.
But he's getting out of it. He just bought a 71 split bumper RS Camaro. Yeah. Excited for that.
Yeah. Well, hot rod friend.
But yeah, that's our first listener question. Yeah. If you have any other questions, let us know.
Yeah.
We're going to start trying to do this every week if we can.
Sure. But
as we get questions, we're going to answer them as we get them.
I'm with you though. Patagonia. If Milestar wants to send us a set of tires to R&D, even if they're new, we're open.
Well, yeah. We don't like Pats. Change our mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll make that meme for the for the episode.
There you go. It's a good soundbite.
Tom, you know where to find Tom at DirtNerds Motors.
Yeah.
You know where to find me at the Dirt Drive. Trevor is DirtNerds Offroad. We've made this delineation now.
Yeah.
So we're all responsible for social media.
And any of us are dirtnerdsoffroad.com.
Yep. And that's where you can find our merch, which hopefully we have more coming. PJ's making awesome stickers.
Trying to.
And I think that's all we got for this week. Thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next week.
Are you enjoying this podcast? Do you want more ridiculousness from the Dirt Nerds? Check out DirtNerdsOffroad.com. It'll link to all of our social media, as well as our YouTube page, and you can pick up some sweet merch to help support the podcast and other adventures.